episode 20 of The Leader Equation. I'm Christy Grossman, CEO of Ops Boss Coaching. We are the ultimate resource for education and coaching for real estate ops bosses. And I'm normally here with Lindsay Soprani, CEO of Soprani Consulting, the top recruiting and consulting firm in the country for all things real estate. And as you can see, Lindsay is away today, so I am tickled to have a great friend co-hosting with me today, Adelina Rotar. Welcome, Adelina. Let's have you introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, I'm Adelina Rotar. I'm based in Austin, Texas. I've been married 14 years. I have two awesome kids. You guys should visit me anytime you're in Austin. And I am the managing partner of the Bankini team for the Texas region. And we have teams all over the country, sold about a little over $1 billion in real estate last year. And I'm really excited to talk about this topic with you guys.
I'm excited to have you. Thank you so much for coming here. This is going to be really fun. Today is going to be amazing. We have an absolute legend in real estate joining us today, Jenny Wemert of Wemert Realty Group. Did I say that right, Jenny?
You did, Wemert Realty Group.
And her COO, Emily Smith, and we are going to talk all things leadership. So welcome, friends. So happy to have you. Jenny and I were on stage together about 6 years ago, and this is the first time we're connecting since then, and I've been watching you guys soar. It has been simply breathtaking to see. Jenny and Emily have been in business together for, I think, almost 5 years now. And it's really rare in our industry. So that's why we've invited them here. And together with their team, they served 900 families last year and sold $265 million in real estate. So I'm going to ask you guys to just introduce yourselves.
Okay.
Who wants to go first?
Well, first of all, thanks for having us. We're honored to be part of this. And we are out of Orlando, Florida. We operate as what we call a teamerage. My husband is our broker. And Emily and my husband and I manage the team together. We have 52 team members, almost a 1-to-1 ratio for staff to agent. We have very high productivity per agent. Now we only have producing agents on the team. We're not a heavily recruiting team. We only hire when we need to hire. And we are just, we all fly the same brand, same flag, and promote the same brand, and we feel like we're better together than we are apart.
I love that. Emily.
That's good. Hi, I'm Emily Smith. I am COO of Wemert Group Realty, and it's my pleasure to sit next to both Jenny and Mike and help run the team. Jenny gave you a great introduction to kind of who we are, our staff, just so you have a kind of a peek behind the scenes. And we have a full-time marketing department, full-time ISA department. We have client care coordinators, TCs in our world, and then leadership behind the scenes, kind of supporting all of our agents that are out in the field. But we serve 96 zip codes in Orlando, Florida. And so it's a wide range. So we say Central Florida instead of just Orlando. And if you're out there and you need a good Orlando partner, you should think of us. We'd love to help you with that.
I love that. I want to throw out there that I was really excited when I reached out to you for your numbers, that instead of telling me how many units you sold last year, you told me how many families you served. I thought that spoke volumes about who you are. So before we dive into the meat, and I already have questions based on your introduction because you said some really interesting things there, we have a quick fire tradition. So we're going to go through the quick fire really fast. So number of years in business, Jenny?
21.
Emily?
Almost 5.
Number of years together, 5. We already know that. Year 1 profit and last year's profit.
Well, year 1 as a team, I would say that that was a 3-person team, 60% profitable, because I was still very much wearing all the hats. Last year profit, we run, 28 to 30%.
That's awesome. Right on model. How many on the team? So 3 on the team when you started and 52 now. I think we already nailed that. And then morning routine. Who wants to take that?
Oh, neither of us are morning people.
Not it.
Yeah, not it. Not morning people. We're super night owls over here, both of us.
My husband is the morning routine guy.
One of us needs to be.
Okay, that's awesome. I love it. So now we know we're going to have an authentic show. I am right with you. That's great. How about evening routine? Do you have a wind down or prep for tomorrow routine?
I do. I mean, I work off of checklists all day long. I'm constantly reprioritizing. The last thing I do before I kind of wind down for the night is look over my checklist for the day and go, okay, what do I need to start with in the morning? Where am I at? Is there anything I need to do before I turn off for the night? And that's kind of how I end my day.
What time do you end your day?
I'm a super late night owl. I'm headed to bed about 12:30. My brain turns on about 10 o'clock at night, and the ideas fly between the two of us about that time too. So we've tried. We're like, I won't text you. We're gonna be better about that, and I just can't. Like
I love that.
Preferred.
That's honest. Trixie, are you taking note for your interview questions? These are great interview questions. Okay, so what book impacted you each the most?
I would say good to great for us, because when we got people on the right seats on the bus, our business changed and our trajectory went forward. So I would say good to great. What do you think?
I picked What You Do Is Who You Are, Ben Horowitz. It's a recent book on building culture on a team, and it was really impactful for me.
I just made note of that. That's a new one for me. Love it. Streams of income. How many streams of income each?
I have 2 right now, working on it.
Okay.
It depends on what you really count as a stream of income, but between 6 and 7.
Awesome. And superpower. You can do your own, or you can do what the other one's superpower is.
I'll do Emily's, and I would look at me. Don't look so scared.
All right, go ahead. I'm listening. I'm ready.
I would say her intuition is always spot on, and she sees things way before I ever am even in the realm of understanding. So I would say your intuition.
I picked authenticity for Jenny. I think there's so many words that I could pick a million words for Jenny, but she's vulnerable, she's authentic, like all of those pieces come back in under authenticity, and that becomes her superpower.
I love that. Yeah, that builds a lot of trust. So for those of you who might be with us the first time, this podcast is all about our entrepreneur-leader relationship. I can't talk today. And we're chatting with owners, founders, CEOs, sales leaders, COOs, ops bosses, inside real estate and beyond. And we're talking about the leadership formula. What adds to the leadership formula, what subtracts, what divides, and most importantly, how you can multiply your results. So we are now going to dive into the meat of it, and I'm going to throw it back to Adelina to start the questions.
I have so many questions already, and you guys are so fast. So we're going to get through a lot. So let's start with, walk us through how you guys came together. What drew you to each other? Let's go back 5 years.
We could go back lifetimes.
I was like,
anyway, I'm just
kidding.
It's inside joke. So believe it or not, my husband and I put out an ad for an in-house photographer, but the also how to do Photoshop, and was creative and would have good people skills to work with our sellers. And literally asked for a unicorn, and one of our past clients said, I know somebody that you need to talk to. Emily was just getting back into the workforce. She had owned companies before. She's run big churches. And lo and behold, she was willing to take the photography job. But we went and bought all the equipment. You were like, okay, let's be a photographer. And then all of a sudden we uncovered all of her hidden talents. And so within probably 2 weeks, we had already taken her out of the field, moved her into the position. And it wasn't long before she was marketing director. And it wasn't long after that that she really started to be the heartbeat of our company and lead from the middle.
Jenny, what was it that made you know, this is not who I thought we were hiring? This is someone way more awesome. What was it that made that light bulb click for you?
Well, I mean, you'll see today, she's just absolutely brilliant. But one, her work product, 2, her speed, and she didn't have any fear to have difficult conversations. She kept bringing more to the table as we were asking more. She was having difficult conversations, saying, okay, I could do that if we're willing to do this together, and wasn't afraid to bring issues or holes to, and find solutions for them. I mean, it's just something I've never experienced before, an employee. A lot of times you end up with somebody that just does their job. They do it exactly the way they tell you to do it. And they don't bring forward solutions or look for holes or look to improve things. And Emily was just such a fast learner and had the ability to, and so many skill sets to employ and move us forward fast. And so it was just blatantly obvious. And, you know, to be honest, it was a little bit difficult for me because I'd never had that level of, I mean, I've had really talented people, but the level of talent that Emily is and all that she brings to the table intimidated me as a leader for a hot minute. Like it just kind of stunned me for a minute, like, ooh, how do I even manage her? Because she's actually better. So I had to figure out how can I, you know, let her shine and get out of the way. And that's probably the one lesson I've learned as a leader throughout my, you know, experience of growing a team is our team has grown the most when I get out of the way, to be honest. I mean, you know, like you set the vision and hire smarter people and get out of the way and let them work. But it wasn't the easiest thing to do. So the first year we had a lot of conversation and, you know, we were like two bulls. Yeah. And then after that, we're now Gemily. So.
I love that. You guys have your own hashtag, Gemily.
Yeah. I don't know. What would you add to that?
Yeah. So I knew before I met Jenny that I needed a new opportunity in my life. I needed a new challenge. I was ready for a shift in my world. I had built a really successful business and sort of decided it was time to move on from that and needed something new. But I knew the pitfalls of trying to run something myself. I knew I was going to be lonely in that, and I didn't want that for my next season. I knew pretty quickly when I met Jenny that she was special. Like I knew she was magnetic and that she had it's that extra special something that you just don't find in every person that you meet. And so pretty quickly I was like, okay, I could build anywhere. Like I have skill sets that would allow me to step into a space and build anywhere. But there's something about working with Jenny that like ignites my passion for what I'm doing differently. There's an energy exchange that happens differently. We can fire ideas back and forth. Jenny's as fast as I am. And I don't know that I've ever worked with anyone that has that same synergy or that same drive to be like, no, nothing is ever good enough. Like let's celebrate the thing that is good, but then let's go forward. Like, let's keep moving. Like there's always something ahead. And I was so impassioned by meeting someone else that finally felt like I did, that I was like, I could do this forever with it was just a linking of like, okay, I finally found someone that gets me. Like, this is a different, deeper version of what I've experienced in the workforce before.
I love that you built your own business first before you joined someone else's to build from within. So what I'm hearing you describe is what I describe as an intrapreneur. Mm-hmm. That you may not be the sole owner of the business. You may not have all the risk. You may not have all the reward, but you like the building and you like doing it with someone else.
No, I love it. I think I'm slightly risk averse, like as a personality type. And I've learned that, and Jenny has honestly taught me just by watching her to be less risk averse and trust that it's going to work out, or trust that they're put a safety net under it, or everything could be fit, whatever the message is that needed to be put there. But I've gained a lot of self-confidence working next to Jenny that my skills are worth something in the marketplace, or that I can use these things to move things forward in a way that I could have never seen for myself without somebody next to me. I've just ultimately learned in my life, it's a lot more fun to have somebody next to you and do it with other people than it is to do it alone. Like I grew up as a hyper independent. I think we're both pretty independent still, but like as a kid, I love to like put all these super like intense play scenarios together for my siblings. Like I used to build restaurants for them to play in, but then I didn't want to play. I just wanted to build it and be like, you guys go play.
That's awesome.
And so I grew up to get to sit next to Jenny and basically have the same job. Like I had a weird light bulb one day where I was like, I'm basically doing as a child I love to do. I'm building things, we're building things, and then we're releasing that back to our team to learn how to play in or do.
And I would have magic shows, and I would sell tickets and have people show up to the show and forget to even know magic or have a plan around magic show. So together we do really well.
I would have figured out how to get magic to the magic show. Jenny would have been out like hyping it up and getting the audience in, and I would have built the show.
I sold the tickets. I didn't know how to do magic.
Pretty much. That should be how we define our relationship.
Awesome. Details. So, do you guys ever have an issue with both of you going so fast that it's just kind of
like, yes.
How do you
yes. Yeah. I mean, yes.
What does that look like?
making decisions too fast or moving things. Like we have a vision together and we can hype each other up because we both have a little bit of that sales personality. So we're like, this is so great. And she's like, that's so great. I'm like, and then we need other opinions to make sure that we are not just hyping each other up on ideas.
You know what that makes me think of is learning each other and trusting each other, but we did a project once and I was like, I think it would be really great if we take everybody's 5 strengths finders and make a frame for everybody with their picture in it. We'll hang it in the office. And she spent like a week on it and she developed all this. And I walk in and there's all these frames. I'm like, what are we going to do with these? This was a horrible idea. Why did you let me do this? And she's like, because you said to. I'm like, not all ideas are good ideas. You should challenge me on that.
This was like 6 months in.
I think you guys just described a huge issue that I see in coaching all the time, because the operations person is the executor. I hear the idea, I'm going to do it. So you had to learn to have that give and take. Like how long did that time take from you just joined each other to now we know we need to prioritize and communicate and all that?
We think about a year. That happened about 6 months in because I didn't feel the trust to say no, right? Like you don't know your limits, you don't know your boundaries. The trust is there, but not there in those new relationships. And so you're like, all right, you asked for it. If I tell you no, is this going to be okay? Can I bump up against that wall? And it was something that to me, I'm like, oh, this is a really simple project. We can do this. Like I caught the vision of what this could be for us. But at the end of the day, was it the piece that was going to move us forward? No, it was a dumb idea that I should have said no to. And then after that point, I think we just
I get more no's than yeses.
She does.
I have lots of ideas.
All the ideas. But that's the power, right? Like that's the power of the visionary personality is bring the ideas, bring every idea, and then let's work together to figure out what's a good one, what's not a good one, let's wait on that, or we got to do that right now. Mm-hmm. And what does that look like?
Was there a moment or a turning point, a milestone where all of a sudden you were like, yeah, I can trust her? Was there something that happened that made you think she has my back, I can push back? Or was it just sort of a gradual then sudden?
There was a couple conversations where it's like, when I was leading before Emily, even before my husband joined, I led from my heart. It was just, everyone just trusted me. Everybody had been with me for a long time. There was never a question of whether or not I was going to do the right thing for the team or our team members. But bringing somebody on that didn't trust me was weird. I'm like, finally, I just said, you're going to have to trust me. I don't know how to do this any other way, but I need you to look at my track record and see that I'm going to bring you along. I'm going to do the right thing for you and your family. It's very important. And I think maybe that was a little bit of a turning point, but you still have to earn it. And you still have to go through the multiple conversations and experiences like the picture frames to gain that trust. But I didn't know how to lead any other way. I was just like, you just have to trust me. And she, like coming from different backgrounds, like, it's like, I don't know, it's unusual just to give blind trust and faith in someone. So I don't know.
Well, and I'm a skeptic by nature, so I'm not going to give you my blind trust. Like I will be kind, but you're not going to have my trust right out of the gate no matter what. So that may be a deal, but it took us a full year to be able to earn the ability to say no, to earn the ability to say, well, why can't we do that way? And I was asking those questions when appropriate, but I think it just takes time. And I think leaders, oftentimes, I think we see this in coaching where people want to rush it too fast. Like they're like, I want the relationship, but I want it right now. And you're like, you just need to sit next to each other a lot longer, or you need to have coffee on the regular, or you need to be sharing ideas and learning how to live in each other's space or ask better questions about why is that important to you? Or why do we need to do it your way? Can we open our minds? I think having those kinds of conversations, the more projects we worked on together, the more ideas that went back and forth over lots of iterations, the more that trust was built kind of naturally.
I think, when you study personality profiles too, I'm a high ID or DI, depends on the day. I don't have to make every decision. I'm not attached to the decisions either, but I will make a decision and I will make it with, a lot of energy. And it will sound like that is the only thing I want, that it has to be that way, just because that is what the level of energy I bring to everything, right? So having her be able to dissect that and say, okay, well, she's making a decision because I asked her to make a decision. So nowadays it just doesn't come in front of me anymore because she can make the decisions and I trust her instincts better than my own. So I don't need to be part of that. It's just,
I love that description that you make a decision with high energy. That's a great description. That feels like that resonates. Emily, what's your DISC profile?
So I'm a high D, but I am pretty high in all the other categories. So I kind of use what I need to in whatever moment I'm in.
Interesting. Adelina, you look like you're about to ask a question.
Yeah. So I think because this is so rare that you guys have been in business so long, and we'll get into some of the good, bad, ugly, pretty, all of it. But think back to your first year. Like, did you guys work in the same room together? Did you guys go to training together? How did you make it through that year where, Jenny, you were excited, even more excited and trusting of Emily, and Emily, you were like, okay, this is where I absolutely do want to build for the next 20 years?
I would say, it wasn't pretty, it wasn't perfect. We didn't have a plan. I didn't know we needed an Emily. I didn't even know what we had, right? So we were making it up as we went for the first year, like, oh, you can do that too. Oh, you can do that too. But I think Emily, I'm speaking for you, but Emily she's talent. So she took pieces and she just looked in and said, okay, what can I take? What can I do? And she just started taking pieces and holding pieces and created herself a job in the middle there. And then saw opportunities to lead and influence our culture and kind of take our heart and implement it, where we were saying the right words, but we weren't necessarily walking the walk. And so she saw all these opportunities and just as a natural leader took them. So, and that's what talent does, right? When you get talent, they're going to take the job, they're going to make it. And I think we're still figuring that out.
Yeah, no, we are. That's an everyday thing that we're still working on. The first 3 or 4 months I was on the team, we didn't sit next to each other. Because I was originally hired, like Jenny said, to be our team photographer or figure out the marketing. So I was working on my own. I was also just trying to learn real estate. I was brand new to the industry, and I was trying to meet with every agent that would give me a minute, or every, at that point we were Keller Williams. And so I was meeting with, I was asking for opportunities with other people that weren't even a part of the Wemert group to try to learn the business. I wanted it as fast as I could get it by fire hose so that I could understand the whole puzzle picture. Because I really saw Jenny's heart and Jenny's vision. I could hear in her words what she really wanted from the team. And all I kept thinking was, I know I can help you with that. I know I can help you with that. I had that weird, I can see it. I know exactly what you're trying to go towards, and I know I can help you. I have to understand this first. I have to grab it first. It was about 6 months in that we had a really difficult the trust conversation Jenny referenced, where she was like, you just have to trust me. We're going to do. And it was that point that I was like, I got to put the wall down, and I've got to figure out how to go forward with you, and I'll just grab the pieces as they come. I'll stop being so worried about understanding my role, because as you ladies know, you've been in real estate long enough, the roles aren't as easily defined, right? So owning my own company, I wanted everyone in a seat with a role, with the list of this is your responsibility, and this is what I do, and you're the, it's so different than walking into somebody else's business and expecting that to be handed to you. And when it's not, they're like, I don't know, just get it done. It doesn't matter what seat you're in. You're like, I don't know my parameters. And I can't exceed parameters if I don't know them. So as an achiever, I wanted to exceed the parameters. So Jenny was like, just wear the hats. It doesn't matter. Just go do the jobs, right?
I hate titles. I'm just not a fan of titles.
Emily, were you more bought into the leader that Jenny is, or the vision that Jenny had?
I think the leader to start, truthfully. I really found Jenny magnetic. I found, like I said, that synergy of energy. I had not experienced that in a work environment with another person. And so I was bought into being like, I know this lady is going somewhere, and I can tell that there's a lot of opportunity to come alongside her and help her get to where she wants to go. And then I think we built the vision of where we're going. And then Mike obviously is a huge part of that, but of where we're going together. And that actually was the part that I think sold me the most. I was offered something like that is of such value, right? When you're trusted to come alongside and get to be a part of casting the vision, or getting to be a part of going, what's next? How are we going to do this? What's our voice sound like? What does our culture feel like? Like that's a gift. And I know that. So I don't take that for granted.
Jenny, you had already been in business 16 years when Emily joined you, correct? So can you walk me through like your mindset as, okay, I've been a business owner for 16 years. I've built a really successful business. And now I have this amazing person alongside who I trust enough within 1 year to help develop the vision of where we're going next. Like, walk me through that, because that's an interesting thing to me.
Well, you know what, geez, it was such an evolution, right? This is kind of funny. Like our team, everybody had been with me for so long, like I said. So, my first buyer's agent was with us for 16 years. We've had several that have been with us 10 years or plus. So we had a kind of a way about us, and it was kind of a cliquey thing. And just watching Emily come in every morning and walk around to the staff and be like, good morning, good morning, good morning. And they're like, who is this fluffy, pastor's wife? Oh my gosh, we're busy working,
100%.
and she just slowly broke them down. And she didn't preach the culture. She walked the walk and taught us all to, open our minds to that, to be nice to each other. It's not that we weren't being nice to each other. We were just busy, right? And we were in a small area. So just an example of her walking and building one relationship at a time with the team and earning their trust. Because I don't care what leader you bring in, you can't just drop them in the front of the room and say, trust them, and everybody's going to follow. She knew that she had to earn that relationship one at a time, and we're still working on it. I mean, not, like when we bring in a new agent or we bring in a new staff member, we understand that we can't just drop them in and expect everybody to buy in. And but Emily just taught us how to do that. She organized our thoughts. She took our standards, put them in writing. We have what's called We Mates. We have 5 standards that are in place. We have a whole language on our team, which builds team building, and just really helped us gather the story, tell our story, and then walk in it and live in it. And but you just did that one day at a time, one relationship at a time.
That's the
and
only
taught
way.
us all how to do it.
It's the only way you can do it. I think our relationship was put into hyperdrive when we stepped out. I was with Jenny for about 1.5 years at Keller Williams, and then we stepped out to be an independent brokerage. And so through that, we had a lot of conversations about what do we look like? What do we sound like? Who are, like, it drove, I mean, to me, those are the bonding years. Like, that's where I went, I'm in it. Like, I'm in this for the long haul. My kids think they're like related to I don't know, like we're in it, right? Like it's a thing. But it was those years and it was those conversations and listening to Jenny go, well, who are we going to be? How are we going to treat our people? Or what are the points of service we want to put in place? Because when the culture is not built for you and not handed to you by someone that says, hey, this is what's going to be on your wall, then we had to take a step back and figure out who we were. So Jenny mentioned We Mates. We Mates is the thing that I think we are most passionate about, because everything we do gets measured up to it. So
tell us a little bit more about that. I read about it. I thought it was really cool, but I want our audience to hear about it.
Sure. So we are Wemert Group Realty. So instead of teammates, we call each other We Mates, right? So the team had been calling each other We Mates for like years and years and years. And then so when we were moving over to our new space as an independent brokerage, we were trying to figure out this culture standard of like, okay, so what are our values and what's the thing that's going to hang on the wall, or how are we going to talk about this internally? And I wanted something that people could really remember, like off the top of their head. And somehow the idea came up like, well, what if we take We Mates and we turn it into the culture standard? So every time I say to you, like, hey, my We Mate, I'm calling you to something that's not just a title, or not just saying like, hey, my teammate, I'm calling you to this like larger vision of who you're called to be on the team. So the short version of what We Mates means for us is it's we, always we, never I. That's why when we talk, like if I write an email to you, I'm even going to write we. Like, it's not I have this opinion or I have this thought or I need this. It's we would like you to know. And we train the team to speak in we all the time, because they have to make handoffs. They're caring for clients at a high level and passing off to lots of teammates. So always we, never I. And then mates is masters of our craft, accountable for our actions, teachable spirits, will elevate others at all costs, and then we'll be solution-based. And we measure everything we do against that. So our agents are held to that standard. Our staff is held to that standard. We hold ourselves to that standard in order to build with where we're trying to go.
And the way we operate as a team, it's all built on trust. So the agents have to trust that when they hand off their executed contract to maybe the transaction managers, the transaction managers are going to do that job at an equal or better job than what they would do. And they have to trust that relationship because that's their future database. And if we have any wildcards or people who just aren't holding up their end of the bargain, this whole thing would implode. So it's bigger than all of us now. You know, I can't put somebody in a little trusted bubble anymore just because Jenny likes them, they get to stay on the team. It just doesn't work that way because this whole thing has to operate with trust and mastery or else it implodes.
How did you guys take that from in your head, on paper, on the wall, in terms of a visionary and in terms of an integrator, and now it's a living culture as opposed to just a quote unquote culture?
Well, we talk about it a lot. So we have a weekly team meeting and we try to integrate at least one of those points in every team meeting so that it's never out of sight from our agents. So we don't actually talk about it publicly. In fact, it's just recent that it's become a part of the vision to share that with the public a little more, because I think it defines our heart and how we run the business and how our agents interact within that. But on all of our private communication, it appears kind of on the top of the page. So the agents are seeing it as they pass by it. It appears in like little ways, like the way we decorate our office. Like it's not just putting that on the wall, it's figuring out other ways to say that. So we have black and white photos of our clients on the walls with welcome home signs, right? So it's not just we, like it's we and the agents and the staff, and then it's we and the clients, like it's defining we. So it's not just the team, it's bringing other people into that team. It's looking at our vendor partners the same way. It's looking at anybody that's going to interact with our business and then beyond. But it's just continually reminding the people on the team who we are, what we're about in ways like anywhere we can, truthfully.
And we're not the type of team that, you know, has everybody huddle up in the morning and ring a bell and we're going to tell you have to call 100 people today and, you know, text so many. You know, we're not doing that. So, but we just expect people to care for our clients and adult, and we don't have, everyone has different goals because they have different big whys. Yep. And so we don't pit our agents against each other. Doesn't make sense to. Mm-hmm. So we only reward We Made of the Year. We don't even give out production awards. The agents don't even know, unless they go do their own research, each other's production at the end of the year. We just talk about our team. We only focus on our team, and we're competitive. We are a highly competitive group, but we teach them to be, you know, just intrinsically competitive. And then as a group, we will compete with other teams or brokerages or, you know, however we want to measure up. But I strongly believe that, you know, if we hire good people that have servant hearts for the clients, they will do the right thing, adult well. And if we have good, strong systems, it holds everybody accountable. We don't have to crack a whip. It will become blatantly obvious if somebody is not doing their job, because there will be a blip in the system. Mm-hmm. And we can look at the system. Is it a system error, or is this a one-off, or is this a consistent problem that we need to address with this person? And so we don't have a lot of coaching or, you know, redirect conversations that we have to have. I mean, the fact that we don't have to turn over people all the time allows us to really grow and, you know, without spending
I love that, intrinsically competitive. Because we see a variety of teams, right? We see a lot of teams that are competing with others in order to benchmark themselves. I personally resonate with the intrinsically competitive. I teach that when I'm teaching ops bosses, and I see that in the top operations people around the country, that those who are successful at the highest level are the people who want to be the best they can be, not be better than someone else.
Right.
Right. So I really like that.
And Christy, one second. Let me just want to go just a little bit deeper. Jenny, were you, because it is a little extreme, right? Like I only see this, like Chrissy said, in the top of the top. Where did you make the choice, or do you remember like what was it that you're like, you know what, this isn't a competition within my own brand? Like when did this just happen for you?
I just have always had that mindset, and you have to realize I never set out to have a large team. You know, like I was just I'm a mother of multiples. I am career minded. I wanted to go build a business. It built a little faster than I thought it would. So I had a choice when I got to a ceiling. Am I going to go through it, or am I going to fall back and just get picky? I just kept going through the ceiling and hiring the next best person. And then, you know, they say, don't hire around your team, hire your missing person. I've never bought into that. We've looked at our team. We get the people on the best seats we can get them on. Where's our hole? And we hire that. And so we've just kept, that's how we've built. We just had a leadership meeting today and we're like, where are our holes right now? Let's fill that. Or maybe this person can move here to fill that hole, and then we'll fill that, you know, that job. So it's something that was just built over time by really caring for the people that were with me and trying to make sure that I was keeping their best interests at heart every time we made that next decision to go through the ceiling. So I was never comfortable like hiring, you know, just to get to numbers. I'm going to add 6 more agents. If I didn't have the leads to feed them, if I couldn't feed their family and stand in front of their family with a good heart, like I wouldn't hire. So we only hire when we know we can commit to a family. Mm-hmm. And the way we set our goals is by adding up everybody's goals. And that's our goal for the year. And then, you know, as we realize if we can't place leads, if we can't staff open houses, if our customer service is slipping, we know it's time to hire. It's really not much more complicated than that.
And just so our audience has an understanding, how long are people with you?
Rarely do we have top producers leave. This last year, we had some kind of graduate in life. One went, you know, moved out of our area with her husband. Another one got married, and her husband was a realtor downtown, so she went to live with him. But I think very rarely do our producers leave because we really have built businesses together, and we truly do bring our value, and it's very important that we deliver our value to them. That is probably the most important thing to me. So rarely do people leave. Now, do we turn some people over? Yes, but it's fast. They either, you know, are a fit or they're not. But our producers rarely, they don't leave. And our staff has been with us. I think, what did we count the other day? 17 people with us for more than 5 years at this point.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Holy cow, you just blew my mind. I've never, ever heard that from anybody around the country, ever.
Yeah.
Oh man, I need to know more about that. Tell me more about that. What are the 3 things that keeps people with you on the operations staff side?
I think culture, number 1, like everything we're talking about is, you're not just seeing a show. It's not just us saying these words. Like we hold ourselves accountable to being this behind the scenes. Like what you see is what you get with both of us, hopefully is what both of us, definitely Jenny. I believe they stay because they know we have their best interest at heart. We put the right people on the bus, so to speak, and go, you're going to be with us forever. We hope they stay with us forever. They know that from the start. And then we ask to build trust with them early. And we just say, okay, where do you want to go? Some of our most amazing producers come out of admin seats. Like we have one we're super proud of right now that just came out of an admin seat like a year and a half ago that went out and sold like, I don't know, $8 million in her first little bit out the door. So we're not opposed to moving seats around when you find the right fits for the team.
Good people.
Yeah, good people. And they know the umbrella is big enough that they can build whatever they want underneath of what we're building. So the sky is literally the limit. And when you just open up the floor and tell people like, we actually care about you and your family. And oh, by the way, you can build and scale this thing as big as you want to, and we'll help you put a bottom under that, or we'll help you do that, or we'll help you chase down solutions. Or you, on the other side of that, you say you need to scale back because you've got a season going in life and you need something different. We'll put the bottom under that too. Like you're on the team for a reason, your family, you get to stay here. I think that differentiates how people feel about being on the team.
So
And
for those that are listening that are on smaller teams or earlier in their team life, I'm thinking, okay, well, you guys have 52 people on your team. It's easier to do that once you've grown to a certain size, because I have lots of seats on the bus to move them around. How did you handle that in the early days? Why were people with you in the early days?
You know, they had, and in the early days when I had my first agents, a lot of them had blind faith that we were going somewhere and they trusted that. You know, we went through markets, we went through 2008 and, we've gone through all kinds of things, but they trusted that I was going to take them through that. But I think it's just truly having a relationship with people. And we have done a lot of life together. We have had births and deaths and illnesses and divorces. And, we don't hire robots. We know people with lives, and, we don't hold hostages. We expect people to just adult. If they need some flexibility, we give them flexibility. If they need time off, take time off. We treat people like people. I mean, it just sounds that easy, right? But I think that when you're a small team, working with them, bringing them next to you instead of you being in front of three people, we went through the trenches together. We built this together. We made decisions together. Now, at some point, if I wasn't thinking of scaling, I wasn't thinking big. So, did I offer splits that were too high at the beginning? Sure, we make those mistakes, right? So you've got to have enough love deposits in their bucket to be able to have that difficult conversation. But at the same time, show them like, hey, we need to adjust these. We need to hire another buyer's agent or listing agent, and they fear that they're going to get less, right? So it's so hard if I hire the second buyer's agent or the second listing agent. After that, it becomes really easy. But making that next hire is hard because people want to hold it so close to their vest. Or hiring a transaction coordinator and making the mistake of bonusing them per transaction. Well, they can only do so many transactions and they get paid for that as we always paid a salary. When you bonus, when do you take away? How do you come back and say, I need to hire somebody else, but I'm giving you all the money and the customer service is slipping, like Emily said. So, now I got to hire somebody else and they feel like they're losing. But it's so, you've got to go through those growing pains. And if they trust you, they'll go with you. And if you truly do take take them at heart and you're doing the right thing for them and making sure it's a good decision for everyone involved, they will follow you and they will understand if you explain to them the big picture. But we've had to do the takeaways. We've had to change splits. We've had to, you get to be on leads. Nope, we're bringing in ISAs. Now you got to give another 10% if we're going to convert a lead. But we teach them why that's better for them. Mm-hmm. So now you can go focus on the buyers. You can just stay in your lane and worry about these 8 things. Let us nurture. This is going to be better for your business. And we don't make fast turns. We can see something coming in. It's like a kind of turn into cruise ship. We don't jet ski, it's because if you're jet skiing, people can't keep up. Mm-hmm. and you lose them and they lose trust in you.
To speak to Jenny's credit too. Oh, sorry, Adelina, go ahead.
Just to the analogy for the cruise ship, give us an example of like when that happened and the time you allocated.
So over the last 5 years, we've been trying to move all of our lead funnels into ISA only and have our agents receive the ISA leads. And instead of being on, we call it lead shift or having access to the leads, right? If we would have done that right out of the gate and pulled that Band-Aid, we risked everybody losing trust in us because they felt like that was a control piece they had. So we started by adding one ISA and took a piece. And then we, got that person up and running at a high level. We were then able to show some of our top converters that loved shifts, decided it is better if I don't have them, I'd rather pay this 10%. And then they became the spokesperson for the team to say, hey, get on board. This is the best thing ever. How soon can we get to this ISA model? I don't ever want to sit at a lead shift again. but it took us to show evidence of success and get people on board and buy-in. And we're still doing
What's
it.
the time
But
frame around that from when you first hired
it's been
that?
5 years.
Yeah,
It's been, how long has it been, Dan?
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
4 years. And
Okay,
we're
so
still having that conversation today. We're like,
Yep.
almost there.
I'm curious, how do you, because you're both, I can see you both, your pace is amazing. You're fast. And I can imagine that in your head, you want it done yesterday. So how do you like train your mind to give this process time?
I think it's also important to know that we are very selective on who we hire.
Mhm.
And we hire very supportive personalities that are going to be good team members. You know, they may be a high I or a high D, but they're going to have that high S more than likely. We do have some, you know, DI personalities, but they've been with us for years and they've grown up with us. But when we're hiring, we're looking for that servant heart, that supportive personality, and then knowing if those are the people we are leading, we cannot just pivot on a dime. They will not follow. They're scared of change. And so we just know that we can't do that. We'll leave everybody behind. So we start talking about it. We sometimes have to let them know that we've identified a problem because they think we're not paying attention.
Mhm.
We see this as an issue. We're working on solutions, you know, and we bring them along. We're very, very transparent on
Well,
our team.
And we ask them for feedback. So as we're working on solutions, we're bringing in other people to that conversation so that as many people as possible in the organization feel like they have a voice into how this thing is going or how it's being shaped or how we're going to change that process. So like the process that Jenny's talking about, lots of agents have had input on that. The ISA team has had input on that. Our leads manager has had input on that. Like there are lots of voices now in the mix because like Jenny said, if we don't move slowly and turn the cruise ship slowly, they get whiplash and then we lose trust, and trust is all we have. That's what we're built on.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to go back to communication because that's an area that we see people struggle in the visionary integrator relationship frequently. What was your communication like in the beginning and how did it evolve to where it is today? So if I'm listening and I'm part of a team, either an integrator or a visionary, and I need to work on this part of our relationship, like what would your advice be there?
I take that from like you and Mike.
I think you just have to start having conversations, right? Like, I think you have to start by opening up the floor. You have to start by saying internally, like, I'm going to be honest about how I feel. I'm not going to try to just appease you. Not that you can't be polite, but I'm going to look at this like I'm going to tell you the truth because I owe you that. And I need you to do the same for me so we can actually move forward. So like for Jenny and I, like I said, the first couple of months, I wasn't really working alongside Jen because I was too busy learning the other parts of real estate and being a part of the marketing team. And then when we started working on projects together and we began sitting next to each other, it became a lot more natural for us to have to communicate because we were working on things together. So it's time. Like as the leader, you can't just leave your integrator left alone. Like you have to give them your time. They have to hear your voice, catch your vision, see the big picture, or they're going to be making all of these guesses about what you want and then bring you a product that you're going to be like, that's not what I asked for. And you're going to be like, but you didn't give me any time along the way to kind of check in on those pieces.
So Jenny, how did you slow down to give her the time that she needed? Because this is the gap that we see all the time is that you're like ready to roll. I don't have time to slow down. You should just figure it out.
She makes me sit down. She just sits me down. So she's learned that like, all right, you know, we need to schedule an appointment, sit down, focus on this topic, and she'll get the most out of me.
And sometimes she shows up for those scheduled talks.
Okay, we're real. I love it.
Kidding.
And sometimes we stay on topic.
No,
So-
sometimes we stay on topic. You know, that brings me to another good point. So a lot of times really great visionaries are slightly ADD and have, you know, a million ideas and something they want to talk about. And then you have the integrator who's like, but I need your brain on these 4 things today, right? So I had to learn along the way to have the things that I needed to talk about kind of off to the side and let Jenny get out her priority first and like and be like, what are the things that you're thinking about? Because if I can clear those things from your brain, then I can get you to focus on the things that I feel like I need from you too. And we've just gotten better about that. So I think too, with visionary integrators, it's you've got to let each other in your worlds at weird times. That's how we ended up talking so late at night. And it's usually text. We're not like on the phone with each other, but I have an idea, or for me, it's allowing Jenny to send me stuff as she thinks of it. And then I figure out how to filter it. So she used to send me stuff and say, this isn't for tonight. And I don't need her to say that anymore. She can just send it over. And I just know, you know what, this is just Jenny wanting to fire this somewhere so somebody can grab it. It's just an idea. And so it's just, again, it's time, it's learning each other, but it's allowing permission to be in each other's space more frequently than maybe like a normal relationship.
Yeah, I love that.
Quick question. I know you guys are running such a great business, and I'm no Pollyanna, so I know it's not perfect all the time. When resentment shows up, how are you guys handling that?
Resentment in the business?
Resentment towards like each other, you mean, or you from agents or?
Each other, or either in the operations division, or does that not show up at all for you guys?
Or misunderstanding?
We're really perfect. We have no
I don't.
we have no problems. No, I'm just trying to think of some. We have, you know,
we have problems.
We have problems.
We have lots of problems.
We just tackle them head on.
We do. Like we're both.
Emily is so good about not fearing difficult conversations, those fierce conversations, right? So I do. I don't like. I don't like. What do you call that? Disharmony, or there's another word for it. But anyway, I don't like to be in what's the word? Conflict, where she's not afraid of it.
I can't even remember the word.
I know, like I said, and then I get stuck. My brain blips, and I'm like, oh my God, please, word. But she doesn't mind conflict. She's not afraid of it. So she will get in front of it, where sometimes I would let it stew too long, hoping it would fix itself, and it just worsens. So she really is good about that. She's taught me a lot about leadership in the fact that she is not afraid to pull somebody up, because she does it with her heart too, where she wants the person to be better. So, and that when she's talking to people, they feel that. So, you know, it's just, I would say like adding one more person is always a challenge.
We have all kinds of things that happen in the background. We have a lot of conversations about like, are you talking to them? Am I talking to them? Have we set a high enough bar for them that they actually feel like if we go in for this conversation that they know what we were aiming towards? Like, have we been fair to them, right? Before we have expectations. So we have a lot of those conversations on the regular. There are times that we don't agree on ideas, or Jenny wants something done and I'm like, I'm not sure that's what we should. So I just hide it to the back of the pile and keep moving forward with other things. Or she'll say, is that thing done yet? And I have to be like, I got to the bottom of the pile and we've got to move it back forward. So for the most part though, I feel like we don't, I don't
not
know.
Internally. I mean, there are days that I'm like, you can put your headphones on now, or she's like, you have your headphones over there? You should put your headphones on now.
We've had those days.
Stop talking to me. I have things I gotta get done.
We share an office. So because we share a space, sometimes when we're both working, it's hard not to be in each other's world or in each other's space or want the other one's opinion. So like if Jenny's not there, I'm going to just keep moving forward. I'm going to make decisions. I'm going to like just keep the pieces moving forward. If Jenny is at her desk, I'm like, Jenny, how do you feel about this? What do you think we should do? Because I love the collaboration. So it's a funny deal. Sometimes Jenny's like, I should stay out of the office sometimes because you get more done when I'm not here. But it's because I like the interplay between her thoughts and what we're doing. It tells me we're going in the right direction.
Yeah. And are you guys in the office Monday through Friday? What does that look like for you two?
I am. I'm in the office full time. I think it's super important to have somebody on site that's connecting all the pieces. I'm kind of the landing spot for how does this fit with that? These guys are doing this. Does it work with what I'm doing over here? Or I have a question, I can kind of filter people into the right spaces. Jen has moved herself into a position in the company where it's not as necessary for her to be in the office all the time. It's actually healthier for her to be building relationships with the agents or taking them to lunch or doing whatever she needs to do to move some of the other pieces that we've, kind of identified as strategic for her in her role these days. But I'm definitely there. We're both available to the team after hours and on weekends because we feel like they should have access to us. But I've also put some fail safes in play. I didn't do this very well the first couple of years. I was like, no, call me. It's fine. I got it. Call me. I'll help you. And I'm starting to be much better about going, it doesn't need to be around my feet. It just needs to be around someone else's feet. Right. And you have another layer before you get to me now. So now I have other team members that it's like, call them first. If you can't get them, then you can call me on the weekend. So that's something I'm personally working on these days as I move into doing more of the managing piece.
I love that. I always think of that role as you're like the air traffic control, like Jenny's jets flying in and the hazmat team's knocking on the door and like all this stuff is happening and you're like, I got it. I can see it all.
That's my
about
life,
right.
Christy.
Yep.
That is my life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big jet.
So if I'm listening and I'm like, I want to find an Emily, what are the 3 things you would say I should be looking for? And then Emily, I'll ask you the same thing about someone who's looking for their perfect partner visionary. What are the 3 things?
That is just such a hard question to answer, just because we've really fallen into this and really just have been blessed. I will say, like, looking back, I should have been looking for somebody with more of the skill set that Emily had. So I think a lot of us tend to hire that transaction coordinator, high C personality, dot all the I's first, where, to be honest, I think if I could go back in time, which is hard because it's 16 years and, you know, everything has changed. It's not the same. We didn't even have Zillow back then, right? So it's changed. But if I were to do it today, I would hire somebody that does have the like IT background, the tech, the graphic design, the ability to move projects or the vision forward fast. The checklist and stuff, that's so easy to accomplish, or really your agents can even hold on to that longer. But what happens is, if you don't hire somebody that can move the marketing forward, you end up in that roller coaster world of real estate. And so in hindsight, I didn't know what I didn't know. And falling into that skill set, I can see how fast we're able to move things forward now, because we don't have to outsource and get things approved and send it back for changes. And, by then the ideas moved on and we've gone, we've done something else by the time you get that outsourced graphic designer to produce a flyer. So Emily can move things so fast. She understands the tech. We do outsource some things, but because of her level of knowledge, it becomes much easier to implement and actually accomplish. Because a lot of things, I still have it, but a 10-year list of to-do list that I, have been carrying around with me, hoping somebody's going to take it at some point. All these great ideas. I think I dumped it on your desk the first day. Like, here you go.
The first week, she's like, I have this thing. And I remember looking at it being like, oh my gosh.
I give her stuff that looks like this and she knows how to decipher it.
Right? I
Like,
love it.
Yeah, it was a really great day when we got through that file though. And there's things now that are constantly being added to the file, right? But that file is gone. Like, that file was gone 6 months after, right? Like you move pieces forward. My job now is to replace the pieces that I'm doing less and empowering more. That's my job right now, is finding other people to replace the things that I needed to do 4 years ago or 3 years ago, or, you keep backing that up. And I just keep replacing myself and keep grabbing more pieces, because that to me is a way to build sustainability. And I'm trying to be what Jenny is to me, to all of those folks, right? So I'm trying to make sure that they've got time with me. They've got my heart. They've got, and by my, I mean we, but like, they need to hear our vision for where we're going and how we look and how we sound and all of those pieces. On the other side of the table, if you're looking for a leader like Jenny, I'll tell you, she might be the only one out there. So you might not, I don't know. I
definitely one of a kind.
No, she's
what are the 3 things that are most important to you about that you value in your relationship? Maybe is a better question.
Oh, I like that a lot. I think looking for someone with heart that actually that's real. It's authentic. It's real. It's not just what they say. It's how they live every day. It's how they try to treat people. I can't even tell you the number of stories. Both Jenny and Mike have that same authentic, like, we're going to take care of people at all costs. I've watched them help agents in deals. I've watched them bail clients out of, you see it all over the place, and it's quiet. It's not
Did you vet that out before you joined her on the team?
No.
You saw that after.
Yeah, that was the only way to see it. Yeah, I had no idea how successful Jenny Wemert was till like a week after I was on the team, just for the record. So there's that. But no, I think they're quiet, there's a humility to their leadership and to their success that is to be admired. And I think if you're a unicorn looking for a place to land on a team, you want to find people that are going to let you in and let you use your gifts and have a little bit of freedom once you understand the vision. But then you want to find people to follow that are just intrinsically good people. Like, you need to find somebody who is going to take care of you in the way that Jen and Mike have promised and shown up in the team. That's why we have teammates that have been with us 10 years, because there is a trust that we are going to take care of their family. There will be a seat for them on the bus. Even if it changes, there will be a seat on the bus because they're a valued part of what we're building. And then selfishly, like I mentioned her energy, but Jenny is also truly one of the smartest people in real estate I know. Like when Jenny speaks in a room, and I've seen Jenny speak on national stages, I've seen Jenny speak locally, I've seen Jenny speak to our team. She hates that I'm doing this right now, but I'm gonna do it anyway. She's so smart and she knows so much about how things connect to other things. And so her breadth of knowledge, when you listen to her, you can't help but just stop and feel like you're a little bit in awe of those pieces. And so finding a leader that knows more than you do and being okay with that and letting them live in that lane and letting them be the superstar that they are, because that's their job, but learning from it. And so I appreciate that Jenny went, you can sit in my same office, like that's fine. I've learned more from listening to Jenny on the phone, handle whatever is happening in her world than meetings I sit in. So there's a high level learning curve when you look for someone that knows more than you do and you actually pay attention to those pieces.
I love
We
that.
should do more of these.
We should. I feel like
feeling very good about myself
know,
today.
right?
Yeah.
You can put the halo on now.
Yeah.
I don't
If
know.
you can get my brain to spit it out of my mouth and you're willing to be patient for that, then yes, I'm brilliant.
No, she's
I want to be
incredibly
respectful of
brilliant.
your time, ladies, but I want people to know where they can find you to send referrals for Central Florida, or if they want to be part of such an amazing team, how should they reach out to you?
Sure. So you can find us on the web at wemertgrouprealty.com. Or you can find either of us on Facebook, Jenny Wemert. There are a lot of Emily Smiths in the world. So I'm Emily Tompkins Smith on Facebook. If you're friends with either of these ladies, we're also friends with them. So you can find us that way. You can message us through Facebook if that's easier, or both of us, our cell phone numbers are visible right there on Facebook. And so you can call either of us and we'll connect you with our leads manager who will place your referrals or get you to where you need to go. To the agent that they need to go to.
I love that. And Adelina, I didn't ask you that same question. If people have referrals for the state of Texas or anywhere across the country for Ben Kinney team, how should they reach out to you?
I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, and my cell phone number is also on everything.
I love it. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I really could have talked for one more hour, or actually listened for one more hour. I have so much mad respect for what you're doing, and we really appreciate you joining us on the Leader Equation today. So
Our
thank you.
pleasure. Thanks, guys.